My name is Hannah and this is my no-buy year. I just filmed my current go-to makeup look using a bunch of my current go-to products for you guys. And I did it for two main reasons. One is that I have drifted into using almost no base product over the past couple of weeks. And it's partly because my skin is behaving pretty well, but it's also partly because I just haven't felt like it. I just haven't felt like wearing a lot of makeup on my skin. And so I've been employing every strategy I know to deal with my redness, even out my skin tone, and cover up some blemishes and scars while wearing as little makeup as possible. So this is a bit of a demonstration of one possible way to even out your skin tone without wearing a full face of foundation, especially if you deal with redness and scarring and blemishes like I do. The other reason I wanted to film this look is that I have been loving the pants off of this Kier Weiss blush, the blush that I shopped my stash for the last time I shopped my stash. I just love it so much. I didn't just want to report back in my next Shop My Stash. I wanted to actually show you how it applies and how it looks and the other products that I've been using to support it. So it's a quick look, it's a summary look, it's not a perfect face. Perfection is not the goal, and that's kind of the point. This is what I've been feeling good in lately, and I hope that watching me apply it will, at the most, be informative and at the very least be mildly interesting. I feel like an actor in Cats the musical. I already primed my skin with Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer, and I put a dab of Primer Potion on my eyes. This is the Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter in Sahara, and it's very delicate and broken, and I've hit pan in a lot of places. It did break and this part kind of fell out, but on this side I don't know, it's like a joint effort between me using it all the time and it being broken that is causing it to look like I've actually made quite a lot of headway on this. So I'm dipping into what is pretty indistinguishable at this point as the darker side of the palette. This is one of those ombre products, so this is the darker side and this is the lighter side, but you can't really tell on camera, and in person you can barely tell anymore because it's so blended together. I'm taking this fluffy Wet n Wild brush and I'm just going to try to create a little bit more depth in my crease. So I essentially put that all over the lid. I did attempt to concentrate it in kind of the outer and upper corner of my lid space. So there's not very much in the inner third of my eyelid, but it's kind of all over the lid. It's like I used it as a lid setting shade. I'm gonna take this little fluffy blending brush, it's the Morphe MB44, and I'm dipping into Warm Taupe from the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. I'm aware that this is my third video in a row using shadows from the Modern Renaissance palette, and when I thought about putting together this easy look for this video, I thought maybe I should dip into another palette because I have a number of shades just like Warm Taupe in different palettes that I could be using instead. And then I thought to myself, no, the reason I thought to reach for ABH is because I shopped my stash for it, so it's been on my vanity and it's what I've been reaching for over and over. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with reaching for the same palette over and over. That's the whole point of shopping my stash, and in a sense it's one of the major takeaways from my channel as a whole. So I'm not sorry that I'm up here on YouTube doing makeup, but I'm using the same palette 3 videos in a row. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's a diffuse concentration of shadow because of the brush I was using, but I'm going to go back in a minute with a smaller brush and do some more specific work with Warm Taupe. But first, I'm going to take this special little thing that I own. This has risen to the top of my collection lately. It's become one of those unexpected favorites because I just happened to reach for it one day and I remembered how very, very much I love it. It is the Giorgio Armani Eye Tint, and I believe it's in the color Gold Ashes. It has lost its little sticker, but I will definitely link it down below. So I'm going to place this on the inner half of my eye and then try to sheer it out really over a lot of the work that I've already done. This is a very, very well-performing product. It shears out beautifully and it's a lot more sparkly than you would think, but the sparkle is really, really, really fine and sophisticated. So now that I've sheared it out part of the way over my lid, I'm going to go back again and I'm going to intensify that cream shadow closer to my lash line. It doesn't look like all that much right now, but my experience with this product is that there's something about it that really sets down and intensifies over the course of an evening. I think it might be that as I open and close my eyes, it releases some of the glitters, and the glitters are very, very, very fine and kind of glamorous looking. Whenever I wear this, I put it on and I feel like it's a very subtle and super understated eye look, and then I get back home at the end of the day or at the end of the party, at the end of the evening, whatever it is, and I look into the mirror and my eyes are just sparkling in this really romantic, almost kind of messy, glamorous way. I also find that it sets down really well and doesn't crease throughout the evening, even on my hooded eyes. This one, the solid eye tint, the non-sparkly one, I only have two of these. One's a sparkly and one's not sparkly. This one I find a little bit difficult to work with. It's hard to apply it in a way that doesn't look patchy, and a lot of times I have really good luck with one eye and not such good luck with the other eye. I find this a lot harder to control than a regular eyeshadow. So if I were to buy more of these ever in the future, I would buy the sparkly ones, but not the matte ones. I've gone back into warm taupe with this little brush, and I'm going to blend out the edges of that sparkly eyeshadow and also try to deepen the crease a little bit more. I have a couple of little eyebrow hairs growing rogue on my lid. They're like down here, but I'm not going to pluck them. I noticed that that's something that when I see it on other women, I always think it's kind of adorable. I think it's kind of beautiful to have kind of bushy brows and then a couple of stray brows here and there. I like that natural look. Even with a good bit of makeup on, even if you're not rocking like the no makeup look, I really appreciate that stray brow hair here and there. And I will eventually go in and pluck them, but I'm not in too much of a hurry to do that. What I mean to say is that I always find it lovely on other women, and then it's hard for me to bring myself not to pluck those hairs. So I'm experimenting with being a little more laid back about it. So for a daytime look, I would stop here. I would actually probably stop before this point. Warm taupe gets darker and darker as you layer it, and I've gone in enough times with enough layers that it's become quite dark and a little bit more dramatic than I would have thought. But because this is a YouTube look and not a daytime look, I think I'm going to film another video after this. I'm just going to pop a tiny bit of Cypress Umber in the outer V. I'm going to blend that with a clean brush. I know this is super similar to the eye look I did when I did the full face of the Modern Renaissance palette. I promise the rest of the face will be really different. And in fact, the first thing that I'm going to do to keep it really different is to not put any eyeshadow or liner on my lower lashes. This is something I like to do from time to time. I think it gives a really unique, fresh, and ever so slightly editorial look. So I'm going to grab a little bit of eyeliner and tight line underneath my top lashes, but I'm not going to touch the bottom. This is my Marc Jacobs highliner, but obviously any old eyeliner would work for this. And Obviously, I hope any old anything would work for any of these. You definitely don't need the Giorgio Armani eye tints to make this look work. You can use any cream shadow or any powder shadow that's kind of like in a light shimmery color, and you can use any palette that has neutrals for the rest of this. This isn't specifically a Kevyn Aucoin Sahara bronzer, Modern Renaissance, Giorgio Armani eye tint, and Marc Jacobs demonstration, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just a way to use makeup. Alright, I cleaned up a bit of fallout, and now I'm actually going to reapply a bit of primer, because I think that last time cleaning up the fallout made my cheeks patchy. Alright, I'm going to take my Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear Camouflage Concealer. It's a green color corrector. I'm using just the tiniest drop, and I'm going to sheer it out like it's my paid job to sheer things out. So it's barely perceptible on my hands. I'm just going to press that into my skin where it's the most red. So my skin has been behaving pretty well lately. I've been eating really well and I've been sleeping more than usual. And I do think that a glycolic face wash that I've been using is one of the many second cleanses that I've had to use up. I do think that it's actually helping to keep my skin clear. I will talk about it in my favorites probably this month. In any case, for a number of reasons, I believe my skin has been behaving relatively well this month. I do have a healing blemish here that you can really see, and on the rest of my face, the camera washes me out a bit, so it's kind of hard to tell. It's pretty calm, but it doesn't look amazing. I definitely have hormonal redness around my nose, a little bit on my chin. I have scarring and some pitting and just some mottled spots. My skin isn't even in tone, and even without this blemish, it would be nothing like the way that it looks when we apply foundation, or even the way that it looks when I use a really sheared out layer of Shape Tape to kind of even out my skin tone. It doesn't look like that. But with the green color corrector, I've gotten to the point where my skin and my neck match better. And before I put the color corrector on, my face looked pink compared to my neck, and I really don't like that. I like to have something that helps even out the tone, but I don't necessarily feel right now like I need to cover up the fact that my skin isn't perfect. So all I'm going to do is conceal my little blemish, and I might do a tiny bit in other parts of the face with my concealer, but that is it. This is a skin positive makeup demonstration, and I want to show you what it looks like when you just live with the skin that you have, only employing the barest bit of judicious spot concealing. I'm taking my Soft Matte Complete Concealer in Chantilly on this little Morphe brush. So those were a couple of little stubborn scars that I concealed, but that's it. I'm resisting the urge to put this concealer on other parts of my cheeks that are a little bit red, because I know how quickly it can spiral out of control, and I just don't want a lot of makeup on my face. I'm choosing to have some unevenness rather than some makeup on those spots. I am going to dab some right underneath my nose where it's red. And again, I hope that the camera is accurately picking up how skin-like my skin looks. And when I say skin-like, I mean deeply imperfect compared to the look that we can achieve with layers and layers of makeup. But I've been happy with this lately. I really like the lightness and the freshness and the sense of confidence that I think that it projects. And concealing just one or two of those tiny spots of real redness on the face, it genuinely makes an enormous difference. I feel like I go from 15% to 90% in terms of how confident I am with my face just by concealing those couple of little spots. I shopped my stash recently for this Kier Weiss blush. Thank you so much to the lovely subscriber who commented letting me know how to pronounce this brand. It's pronounced Kier Weiss. I have been enjoying this product so much. I'm genuinely wearing it every day since I shopped my stash, almost every day. And here's how I've been doing it. I'm gonna let you know. I pulled this Wet n Wild brush that I almost never use because it's one of those foundation brushes with the indentation in the middle that's designed to squirt foundation into and then put it on. And I never put foundation on that way, but I was looking for a dense brush that's designed to blend out cream products, and I just don't have tons of brushes. This was the closest thing that I could find that I wasn't using for something else. I guess the angle is good for blush. I know it's a little bit of a weird choice, but it's just the brush that I've been using. So here's the product. It's in this nifty refillable container. And I've just been taking a little bit on my finger. So this is in the color Precious. And you all know I love me some blush draping, but I'm not gonna go there today. I'm holding back just for you, in case you're tired of seeing it. Oh, I just hit pan. That last little dab, look at that. Anyway, I love this blush. I cannot see myself putting it down for weeks to come. I really cannot. I think next time I shop my stash, I will probably not pick a blush because I want to keep using this one. Here's what I've then been doing. I've been going back into my Kevyn Aucoin Neo Highlighter in Sahara and taking this big fluffy brush. It's a Morphe B26, and I've been taking from the lighter side, not the bronzy side, and just buffing over that a little bit, partly to set it and also to add a little bit of a sheen. The color match is pretty good, and I'm going in with so little powder that it barely darkens it, it barely changes it, but I think that it probably helps with the staying power a little bit. Although I did test this Kier Weiss blush one day without the powder because I've been so impressed by the staying power of it, especially for a cream product. So I tested it one day without the powder to see if it was the cream or the powder that was making it last, and it lasted just as long and it stayed just as bright without the powder. So I think the powder is maybe helping a little bit, but for the most part it's just adding the sheen and adding a little bit of dimension. And I'm actually going to take some more of that. I'm dipping into the Kevyn Aucoin, and you know the drill. I'm going to blend it in to my eyeshadow. So I said this in the Modern Renaissance demo video, but I'll say it again. I think it's even clearer in this video, and that is that the rest of my skin looks so much brighter and clearer now that I have that blush look on. So I was okay with it before with just the color corrector and the spot concealing, but I do feel like the blush has really pulled my face together and really brightened up my skin simply because of the contrast. The contrast between the ruddiness of the cheeks makes the ruddiness in the rest of my skin recede a little bit. And this area, in which I would normally put concealer, I do have a bit of a blue shadow underneath my eyes right now, and I definitely have some redness in this area. So ordinarily I would put concealer on there to really brighten it up, but I can never pull off that look without really looking like I'm wearing makeup. Like, it really makes my face seriously contrasted between the whiteness of the under eyes and all of the rest of the face. So this way, I've kind of brightened up that area just by putting a cheek on. Joe came back from the gym because he's a muscular, masculine man. I'm kind of down to the dregs when it comes to mascara. I have these two little deluxe sample sizes of Better Than Sex, both of which are so dry at this point that they've become quite flaky and hazardous, it feels, to wear. I have this little deluxe sample size of the Dior Show Pump and Volume. It's doing okay, but it's definitely not thickening my lashes in the way that it did kind of within the first month when it was opened. And then I also have this absolute tragedy of a product, the Buxom Mascara, and this has performed like it was almost dead since the day that I opened it. And I've really tried and I've kind of been through the ringer with it, but I think it's on its last legs too. So I think I'm gonna go, it's like a choice between four horrible things, but I think I'm gonna go with Better Than Sex. For today, it's still, of these four, the one that gives me the most volume, even though they're all trash at this point. They're really all trash. It's kind of exciting. These are my last mascaras. I've made it 6 months without purchasing mascara, but I think that at the end is nigh. I'm gonna do this off camera. I'll be right back. All right, there's the mascara on. I didn't put any mascara on my lower lashes to kind of complete this very bright, blank under eye look. And it's something that I quite like, especially on a light makeup day. I frequently do this. I leave all makeup off of my lower lash line and my lower lashes. And I think it gives me a kind of like a, sort of like a squinty, bright-eyed look, like a little blinky bird or something. There's something attractive to me about it. I don't know. If it looks ridiculous, let me know. I like it. Finishing touches, finishing touches. And a big crumb of eyeliner came off on my face. Gonna pop some brow gel on, clear brow gel. My brows are getting really light. It's almost time to dye them again. I'll try to film it for you. And onto my lips, I'm going to put NARS Het Loo. This is a NARS satin lip pencil. I like it because it's a pretty nourishing feeling formula, and the color, to me, is everything. So I applied the shape that I wanted for my lips using the sharpened tip of this pencil, and then I blotted it down pretty heavily to be kind of like a stain. And I do that with almost every lip product that I wear. I really like the blotted, stained kind of lip look. All right, I'm gonna take off my ears. So this is the look I ended up with. I'm not wearing any highlighter except for the slight sheen that I got from my Kevyn Aucoin Neo highlighter, which is more of like a bronzer blush for me. I am not wearing any foundation and concealer. I do have a bit of hormonal redness like around my mouth and nose that you can see. I definitely don't have totally clear looking skin around my jawline and my cheek. I have been pretty successful in my attempt to make my face match my neck, but the color correcting did part of it, and then I feel like the rest of that work was done with the color products that I did put on my cheeks. Anyway, this is pretty typical of how I might go to work on a daily basis or go out to sit in a coffee shop and get some writing work done. This has pretty much been my go-to, this or some version of this. Obviously, sometimes I switch up the specific products. Before I started doing this, before I shopped my stash for this blush, I was frequently doing a no blush and very, very, very shiny highlighted whole face kind of look. And I'm sure that I will flip-flop back to that at some point in the not too distant future. And maybe I can film a video similar to this, showing how I get kind of a light and relatively natural makeup look that's more on the hyper highlighted and slightly washed out side of things. I don't know why that would sound attractive. Didn't I make that sound attractive? That is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And whatever you have on your plate this week, don't forget to take extra good care of yourself, because that is what will make you the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.